By about 100 BC, the Han Dynasty experienced a period of great strength. The Han was the second dynasty to unify China. Apart from the short-lived Qin dynasty, it had almost nothing to emulate in terms of exercising state functions. One of the functions of the state was to maintain social order and mitigate class conflicts in order to safeguard the interests of society as a whole. But at the same time, as an empire, the state became a special interest group that relied on state power to wantonly plunder society. In its final days, the over-exploitation of society by the authorities led to the collapse of social order. In the course of developing a free economy, the private buying and selling of land was another factor in the dynasty's downfall. The foundations of China's peasant economy were extremely weak. Peasants often faced bankruptcy, which meant the wave of land acquisitions could not be contained. The government's inability to stop this led to the polarization of rich and poor in society. While bureaucrats and landlords owned vast swathes of land, the poor could not afford to put roofs over their heads or clothes on their bodies. As peasants lost their land, they were reduced to begging, which ultimately led to repeated rioting. With widespread calls for social reform, Wang Mang's ascent to power was a reflection of the people's aspirations. Wang Mang's most important policy was his attempt to return all of the land to the state and use state power to share wealth equally. But due to the check and balance of various interest groups, he was unable to implement his reforms. Allowing land transactions and encouraging competition would only lead to land acquisitions and social polarization. But returning land to the state and sharing wealth equally would go against people's competitive nature, and it was too good to be true. It wasn't the first time this had happened, and it wasn't going to be the last either. Over the following 2,000 years, not even the greatest dynasties were able to escape the fate of the Great Han.